Aloha, Mother Fathers. Welcome in another edition of Kyle Reacts here on your Monday, June 9th, 2025. And it is time to react to tonight's Monday Night Raw. And roller coaster of a show for me. I'm sure for a lot of you watching. Some things maybe you thought were going to happen. Some things maybe we didn't think were going to happen right away. So let's dive right in. Of course, if you're new to the series, second week of Kyle Reacts, what we do is we take three things we like, three things we didn't. In this case, I actually have 4 and 4, but I'm kind of whittling it down a little bit here and there, depending on all this stuff. And some tie into the other as well when it comes to all this. So first thing we loved in this show, we finally got to see CM Punk and John Cena face-to-face. This was honestly awesome. Been waiting a long time for this, pretty much since Elimination Chamber when everything went down the way it did. We saw Cena come out, or Punk come out the following week and basically call out John and The Rock and everything like that. And now finally we're going to get some movement on this. And it looks like we know where now this match is going to be taking place. And I will talk about that in a moment. But still excited to see John and CM Punk in the same ring. And really, John didn't have much to say. Honestly, Punk made a lot of points. Thought maybe he was a little timid. Tried to throw in some shots from the previous time they feuded. The Yankee-Red Sox thing is a little played out now. It's not really a rivalry that much anymore, unfortunately. They still hate each other, but it's not as crazy maybe as it was back then, especially to John. I mean, he's in L.A. more than anything else in Tampa, so he doesn't really care. But nevertheless, great to see that. Also, great to see Bayley back. Loved her coming out and kind of adding a foil into this Becky-Lyra situation. Lyra coming out looking like she was about to attack her, and then all of a sudden Bayley comes through, waiting for her to come back. She finally did. That was awesome. Excited to see how they play that. Lyra looked a little confused. Maybe there's some turmoil in there. The struggle with Lyra getting some more character work is going to be really good for her to keep her on that upward trajectory, because I do think that Lyra should be a women's champion here relatively soon in WWE. She's proven a lot over these past few weeks and even few months with Becky kind of back and forth and all this stuff. So excited to see how this plays out. And obviously Becky and Bayley is a money feud. I hope they carry that into SummerSlam, because that should be on one of those 2 nights in New York. The Whole Truth showed up again, and he's not R-Truth anymore. He cut his hair on air on Netflix in front of everyone to show he's not on some bullshit. This dude is here for real. Ron Killings has arrived in WWE. This is the TNA run of R-Truth that you saw. This is serious R-Truth. A lot of people have been clamoring for this. I'm excited. I don't know if he's going to be main event level, but the way he is with the crowd right now and the way they've ridden this momentum, who the hell knows, man? I mean, who the hell knows? I'm excited, though, to see whatever this means, whether it's a mid-card championship, whether he's going after John right after Punk. We'll see what happens. Who knows again, but still, good to see serious R-Truth. Love that, and obviously the crowd's behind him. The last thing, man, I've been waiting for Liv Morgan to fire up for quite a long time, and when she came out with Nikki Bella, I was like, oh shit. Now, we got Nikki back, and no offense, didn't really care as much. There's not really much more she can do for me in this industry. Obviously, think she's great, and for what she's done previously, and for what she continues to do outside of wrestling and the star she is, and I hope she's doing well. Obviously, with the personal stuff, it's tough to bring it up, but obviously she gave him the green light because they talked about it. But Liv coming out with a ball of fire for like just no reason other than feeling disrespected, and because Roxanne won the match earlier, which was awesome, by the way, too. That was pretty cool for me. I never thought I'd want a Liv Morgan Nikki Bella match, but it turns out maybe we're going to get that possibly as soon as Evolution, or as late as Evolution, so we'll see what happens. They need to fill out the card. I imagine they're going to do more than 5 matches. They're going to make it a full thing. I'm all for it. All right, now to the things we didn't like. Remember, we kept this to 4 and 4. I'm actually going to get rid of. I had Kyrie on this list again because that match was great for Roxanne. It was great for Rhea, and it was great for Liv. But for Kyrie, she does not fit. I'm excited for Asuka coming back next week, but Kyrie Sane is just not in that class. I'm sorry. And there's probably some Japanese wrestling fans that are going to hate me, or they're going to say whatever, and she's just not. She doesn't hold a candle to those 3 in the ring. And that's saying a lot because Roxanne just started technically in WWE. She's been wrestling for a while, but here on the main roster, and she's already leaps and bounds ahead of Kyrie Sane. Just Yeah, I'm not going to go too deep into it. She was one of my things last week too. She doesn't belong in this scene. She should be maybe in the mid card, maybe even the lower card, honestly, as a comedy act. Because if she is, she's pretending to be a pirate. I mean, I know we're all characters here, and it's great, but you shouldn't really build on the character. She just all of a sudden is a pirate. We don't know why. So, um, mentioned Cena and Punk. My first official thing I didn't like about the show, it's at Saudi. That's the part that kind of bums me out. I eye rolled, and unfortunately, Anthony called this. I'm not about that, man. I wish it was in front of an American crowd, or even like if it was in France or even Australia or whatever, it'd feel bigger. But the Saudi shows always have been a write-off for me. I guess they're trying to fix that, especially because Rumble's going to be in Saudi next year. So I guess they're really trying to hunker down on this being an important event. So I get it, but man, ugh. Second thing I didn't like, the Vegas announcement because they doubled down on it. We know it's going to be in Vegas again next year for WrestleMania. We understand Triple H didn't need you to stand on top of Allegiant Stadium and tell me that again. I mean, Double A said it best in his last reacts when it came to the official announcement when it came out before the weekend. Dirty. I mean, they did New Orleans dirty. The people that obviously were planning on their trip around going to New Orleans. We were excited about that because it was going to be after Easter. So there was an opportunity for us to actually maybe go down to New Orleans, and I have family down there, and I've always wanted to visit the city, and now still haven't been to Vegas. Would love to go to Vegas, nevertheless, but it just kind of sucks that New Orleans got kind of thrown to the side with that. And the last, but certainly not least, maybe the biggest story coming out of the show, we didn't get any Goldberg appearance, something like that, but we did get Gunther making Jey Uso kind of pass out. He still was moving around after they rang the bell. So Gunther is the World Heavyweight Champion again. I have no words. This was probably one of the worst finishes Triple H has booked. They're really leaning into the Gunther's been champion 80% of his time, and they have to keep that shtick going, huh? Because he cannot have a possible story without being a champion. Didn't make any sense. I think it made more sense for Jey to get cashed in on if it was going to happen, or someone to pull in. Seth Rollins had mentioned by Heist earlier in the show, so you never know. He thought maybe that could be a possibility. Now Seth apparently is targeting John and Punk, because go figure. Man, I feel bad for Jey. It feels like a real shitty way to lose your championship on a Raw in Phoenix. They did the whole Stephanie Vaquer thing where he just went too hard and did too many things at once, and I mean, the story is okay. It sucks because now Gunther's champion, and who's beating Gunther? That's if Goldberg is going to face Gunther for the World Heavyweight title, yikes. Didn't really need to see that, but nevertheless, that was probably one of the worst things I've seen Triple H do. I'm sure we'll talk more about that, obviously, this week on the full podcast coming out. I believe it's going to be Thursday this week. I lied to you guys last week. This summer's going to be crazy. We're moving schedules around. It's nuts, but nevertheless. More on that later in the week. We'll see how the dust settles, and obviously a lot of more wrestling to go throughout the week. So that's going to do it for Kyle Reacts on this Monday, June 9th, 2025. Don't forget, tomorrow night we're going to review NXT. I'll have to break down there as well. Also, give us a follow here on the YouTube channel, of course, Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast 216. You can find all of our other, social media linked in the bio there. On the YouTube channel, I will see you guys tomorrow night. This has been another edition of Kyle Reacts.